Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, man. It's that time of the month. It's that time of the year, a fall transition going on. And it's one of my favorite videos because I get to give you the baits that I'm fixing to talk about right here and a Plano tackle box. And I just enjoy doing that. So let's start off by giving you guys, my viewers, the baits from last month. Last September, we talked about what the bass go through and what they're doing, and I believe it was a chopo and a football jig I talked about, and a special kind of square bill crankbait. You guys have to go back and check it out. So when I go to that video, and this is how I pick winners, guys, and you guys watching this video right here, all you have to do is go down here, leave me a comment, man, and be a subscriber. I can see those things when I go to my YouTube, and it just really, helps my channel by you being a subscriber. So my first winner from last month's video, Rick Spear. Man, Rick, I appreciate you leaving the comment. Really, really cool. My next one is Robert Menace. You happen to say, thank you, Adam, for the great trips. Love all the baits. Said a bunch of great things. God bless and keep the great tips a-coming. Robert, I got some baits for you. And then my last winner is Doug Leesman. Great feedback about September baits. And man, I appreciate you being a subscriber and leaving the comments. So you three guys, Doug Leesman, Robert Menace, and Rick Spear, you leave me a email, your address over on my website. It's super simple. You guys go over there to my fishing website, edwinweavers.com. Leave me a address, send me an email. That's the only three winners, guys. There's all kinds of spam happening out there in social media, so I mention your name right here. I'm never going to contact any of you. You're contacting me. I'm never asking for money, guys. I give all this stuff away free, and I'll ship it all to you on my dime. I'm never going to ask you for money to ship something to you. Okay, with that said, let's talk about October, transition, things that happen this time of year. Depending on where you're at, fall turnovers start to happen. And what that is, just to talk about it a little bit, it's the water temperature at the top of the lake versus the water temperature at the bottom lake. Like when you guys have been out there swimming before, you can feel in some lakes that maybe your toes, the water, it changes temperatures. It's colder. That would be in a dirtier water lake, like a pond, that you can see only a few feet down. Well, that is called your thermocline, and that's where that water temperature makes a drastic change. And it can be in some lakes as deep as 30 feet deep. It can be like right here in my pond, it's just a few feet deep. But what happens is that cool water with a very little oxygen comes up to the top because the cold water now is as cold as the cool water, and they switch. So the lakes get dirty, the water will get brown, there's not as much oxygen. It's just kind of a funky time of the year when that happens. You might see some stuff floating on the water, and for me, it can be a tough time of the year because you can have fish as deep as they've ever been, and you can have fish as shallow as they've ever been. They really, really scatter, but the easiest ones for me to catch, being limited time, we all have limited time unless you get a fish every day like a fishing guide or something, are those shallow ones, and something that I can cover water with. So, that starts to happen a lot in September, October when those cool nights, cool that water temperature off and that water flips, and it's called that fall turnover. So with that said, I'm really excited to talk to you about a bait that, man, I have been working on this bait over 2 years. And you're going to ask, man, it's a spinnerbait. How can you work on a spinnerbait? Well, this spinnerbait's different. It has a very, very unique sound. And you can see these are still in the prototype packages. They are hitting the shelves like at Bass Pro this month in October, which is really, really exciting. Other tackle stores, they are being mailed out in October, but it's the Berkley Power Blade. And just a few things that are different about it. I've got 256 different SKUs of this thing. This one right here is the 3/8 ounce standard size tandem willow. Tandem willow means it's got a Colorado up front and a willow in the back. It's just what I use. This color right here is called Crypto. It's kind of a white with a gold, just a great color in dirty water. But my blades are very unique. We designed these blades, and that's what took us so long to get the blades perfect. They've got a very unique sound, and when you tie on one of my standard spinnerbaits or my Colorado willow leaf compact spinnerbaits and you reel it in and it's calm, you'll hear what I'm talking about. A couple other things that we did differently, we extended that hook. You can see how far back that hook is. For a 3/8 ounce spinnerbait, that's a long hook. If I was to show you a 1/2 ounce spinnerbait, I don't want this to be a commercial about my spinnerbaits, but I'm excited to tell you about them. So we're going to get back into it. You can see how long that hook is there on my 1/2 ounce spinnerbait. So there's no need for a trailer hook. Like, that's a plenty long enough hook. You don't have to worry about getting snagged by having that trailer hook back there. But okay, with that said, they're cool spinnerbaits. You got to check them out. I'm pretty excited if you can't tell. I've got 4 of them out here, but we're going to talk about 3 of them, and then I'm going to mail them to you guys. Fall transition. I did a video just the other day on talking about that fall transition, throwing that spinnerbait on laydowns, and caught some really big fish. If you guys hadn't seen it, go back and check it out, because I dive off into what's going on this time of the year a bunch about it. So that's why spinnerbait's one of my top 3 baits. It's just a bait I throw in October, throwing down laydowns, throwing down docks, throwing on riprap. It's something that I slow roll when I'm largemouth fishing in dirty water. Now, if I was in clearer water, down the lake, windy, cloudy day, I'm going to throw one like this. This is a 3/4 ounce compact. You can see I've got a lot of weight back here. Still a little bait. This is a 3/8 ounce bait. That's a 3/4 ounce bait. Same size. You can just see that's a standard 3/8 ounce. That's a 3/4 ounce bait. So I can burn that thing just like crazy. I've got a little bit narrower willow leaves on my compact series than I do on my standard series, which allows me to bring it in faster without making the bait come up higher. It'll keep it down in the water column. It's balanced really, really good. But that color right there, that color is a herring that I've got. That would be a bait I'm going to throw clear water, smallmouth, largemouth, the lower end of Grand, Lake of the Ozarks, over grass beds down at Rayburn, just something I'm keeping it up, winding it pretty quick, because that weight is going to keep it down so I can move it. I can get that reaction strike out of those fish. When I go to throw the tandem willow, that's a bait I'm throwing slower, like just in that video I told you guys about watching. And then if I'm really in dirtier water, they're feeding on bigger shad, they get more aggressive towards the end of the month. That's when I'll go to that 1/2 ounce standard size. Just chartreuse and white, just a great, great bait. The other thing that you guys need to keep in mind this time of year, October, up north, my smallmouth fishermen, you guys, having something like that bait right there is a 3/8 ounce compact series. You can see how small it is. It's got some weight behind the head, really small design, but those chartreuse blades in that really clear water, it's just a great smallmouth bait. And those fish up north, they are feeding, getting ready for winter. I would have that one tied on if I was up there up north fishing for those smallmouth. But you cannot go wrong having a spinnerbait tied on. I have a spinnerbait tied on year round. I'm from Oklahoma. I was raised that way. If you ever go getting that nitro right there and look in that rod box, there's probably going to be 3 of them tied on, but it's always going to be tied on. You better have it tied on in October. It's just a bait. They catch them. I mean, I just can't tell you how many tournaments get won in October on a spinnerbait. So it's kind of a quick overview of them. I wanted to show them to you guys. It's really, really a cool spinnerbait. Really, really excited about it. Okay, moving on. I am putting everything this week in a Plano Pro Latch Stowaway box. It's the open one. I like these open ones. I have a lot of these in my boat. And I am also going to give you guys some of the new Plano Stowaway bags. These are really tough Ziploc bags. This piece of paper comes out. You can put a write on them right there, the label. They've got a couple different sizes. That's the 3600 size, which is the size of that box basically, and they have a 3700 size, and it's also big at the bottom. Cool bags to store stuff, baits, tackle, etc. Okay, the next bait, I got 2 more, and this one right here, like, I just feel like a lot of times in the fall people overlook a jerk bait. Fish are feeding up, they're feeding on shad, they overlook a jerk bait, man, and it's just something I have tied on going into this time of the year. I'm going to have this color right here tied on. This color right here is Stun a Shad. This is the one for that dirty, cloudy conditions. Man, throw this thing down laydowns. I mean, you just think about it. People don't throw a jerk bait off the end of a laydown very often. Throw it at the end of those docks, down the sides of those docks, off those tire reefs, down some riprap, bang it on rocks. The difference that I will do with this bait in the fall then like, you know, back when you guys were watching Redcrest this spring, you know, I throw it on 10 in the spring. I'm going to throw it on 12, 14, maybe even 17 pound test in the fall, because I'm throwing it like in the backs of, you know, pockets, on stumps. You know, I'll jerk it down next to a stump and let it sit there a minute. It's a heavy line technique for me. So, you know, it's just what I use. Now I'm going to throw this hanky panky color, a little bit clearer water. It's more of a transparent bait. It's got an orange belly. You know, so muddy, a little bit clear, still cloudy days. Just another great color, one of my favorites. That's why I had to have it out here. And then for up north, when I go smallmouth fishing up north, I got to throw the perch color. It's just a great color, just straight perch. Largemouth, smallmouth, they all eat that perch. You know, when you go up north, they don't have shad, you know, in those lakes up there, in those bays. They have, you know, a lot of perch, a lot of bluegill. That's what a lot of those fish feed on. So definitely a great bait to have tied on in the fall. Okay, lastly, I talk a lot about jigs on this channel. Man, and I love jigs. You know, jig represents a bluegill, it represents a crawdad. You put a white one on, you can swim it, it represents a shad. It just represents a lot of things. But with that said, this time of the year, you know, you go back through the history of my videos, I talk a lot about fishing docks, you know, in the fall. I just think it's a high percentage area, high percentage thing to fish. And one of the baits that I'm going to fish, because I'm going to look at those shallower docks. I'm going to look for those isolated docks, you know. And for me, a finesse jig is just a great bait to throw. You know, this is the new finesse jig from Berkley. It's got the power bait scent in it. And what is different about it is it has a lighter wire hook. You know, the standard jig is going to be a heavier wire hook. This has got a lighter fiber weed guard, a lighter hook. It still has the full skirt. And what I will do with this, man, they smell good. Just that power bait worm smell is in these things. That's just something I love. I trim this up. I'm going to make it like a finesse jig, you know. So I'll take this skirt. I will get the top half of it. If you'll see right there, we've got the bottom half and the top half. I've got them separated. I'm going to cut this top half off right there. And I'm going to make that just like that. Then I'm going to take this bottom half and I'm going to cut it just right below that hook point. So I just took that jig and it's got just the right amount of strands for a finesse jig to fall. I'm going to throw this on 12, 14 pound test. I got a little crazy with my cutting. And that's what the jig, that's the bait I'm going to throw. Now, a couple different trailers that I put on this. One trailer I like a lot is just the Boss Grub. Another trailer I like a lot is a Crazy Legs Chigger Crawl. Now Berkley makes two different chigger crawls. They make a Crazy Legs and they make a chigger crawl. The chigger crawl, in my opinion, has got too big of flappers for my finesse jig. If I was throwing a standard size jig, the chigger crawl's perfect for it. But I want something a little bit more compact. So I separate all this off. I take these tentacles right here. I take those off. I just pinch them off right there at the trailer. And so now I have that right there, just a perfect little crawdad to go back on this trailer. This color right here is Okeechobee Crawl. I am going to thread it right up on there. Come out perfectly straight. I'm going to have the sapphire blue down, the green pumpkin side up. And you can see that just looks just perfect right there on that bait. I got everything separated. That is a good little compact bait that you can, you know, skip, flip around docks, around laydowns. You know, it's just a great bait in the fall because you have so much pressure on fish. I'll throw this in a lot cleaner water. It's got the perfect hook for me. You know, a lot of finesse jigs come with too small a hook. This hook right here is perfect for that 12, 14 pound test. I got 3 different colors here, guys. And whoever wins this bait, I'm going to put this one right in this package just so you see that that's the one you're getting. One of them has been opened, so you don't get mad at me, but your bait is ready to go. So if you take it out to the lake, it is going to be ready. I don't want to mess the pinchers up on it. I'm going to stick those up. We'll put that back like that. So that color right there is that blue crawl. It's one of my favorites, just a green pumpkin bluish. I've got watermelon candy. This is going to be for those super clear lakes, Table Rocks, Beavers, Hartwells, you know, those really the lower end of your lake where it's clear, a watermelon candy. And then you just never can go wrong with a Bama Cross, just green pumpkin and orange. I've got these paired with a couple different Boss Grub trailers. I like these trailers if I'm doing a little bit more swimming, a little bit more action. I also like those trailers because it's a little bit more compact than my Chigger Crawl trailer. But guys, I'm going to send all this to you watching. Just hopefully leave that comment, and hopefully I'll randomly go down through there and pick your name next month when we do it all over again in November. So I hope these baits help you guys. I just always try to get you thinking differently, outside the box a little bit. You know, spinnerbait's pretty much not outside of the box. A finesse jig's not outside of the box. But that jerkbait's a little bit outside of the box. And a lot of people think of a jig, but maybe not a finesse jig. And maybe they don't quite trim it up like that. So the big thing is also to think about this time of the year, guys. Make multiple casts, cover water, you know, pay attention to the type of bank that maybe is behind that dock, underneath that dock. You know, is it sand? Is it pea gravel? Is it chunk rock? Is it mud? So many times in the fall, they will be on the mud docks. You know, the ones that the back end of them are sitting on the ground and they're in that mud. So don't forget about that. Other great baits, guys, not to forget about, you know, is obviously that Chopo that we talked about last month is going to be a great bait. You know, a jaywalker, a walking bait. But I feel like you guys already know that. So tune in next week, guys. We're going to dive off more into that fall transition. You know, it's a video series I've got called Where to Start, sponsored by Optimum Batteries. We give an Optimum battery away every month. So we'll dive off into more places. We'll get the maps out, Google Earth. We'll tell you where I go start on going to a lake. You know, all the time I'm tournament fishing across the country, and you got to have a place to start, a place to go get that first bite, a place to get your confidence up. We talk about that next month. You guys tune in. If you hadn't hit that bell, you got to hit that bell so you'll know when that video's coming up. So we'll see you next week.